Ryan Harrison leaned against the kitchen counter of his Park Slope brownstone, the warmth of a coffee mug grounding him as the morning sun filtered through the windows. The triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, were upstairs, their laughter and occasional bickering over breakfast cereal drifting down like a melody. It was a Sunday, one of those rare days when Ryan could push aside Harrison Global Ventures and just be dad. But the black business card on the counter, embossed with Dmitry Volkov's name, cast a shadow over the moment. The Russian's visit 2 days ago had left Ryan uneasy, his cryptic talk of enemies and family lingering like a bad dream. Amanda was due soon to join them for a family outing to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, a plan the boys had insisted on after Ethan's latest obsession with rare plants. Ryan glanced at his phone. No messages from her yet, but a text from James Porter sat unread. Found something on Volkov. Call me. Ryan hesitated. James had burned him once, feeding Victor's schemes against Amanda. Trusting him again felt like walking a tightrope, but Ryan needed answers. The doorbell chimed, and Ryan opened it to find Amanda, her brown hair catching the sunlight, a canvas tote slung over her shoulder. She looked different today, lighter, maybe, in a green sweater that matched her eyes. Morning, she said, stepping inside. The boys ready? Almost, Ryan replied, closing the door. They're debating whether waffles beat pancakes. It's getting philosophical. She laughed, but her gaze landed on the business card. Still thinking about him? Ryan nodded, lowering his voice. He knew about the boys, Amanda. Not just their names, enough to make it personal. I don't like it. Her smile faded. What's his angle? Your company. That's what I thought at first. But James says it's bigger. I'm meeting him tomorrow to dig deeper. Be careful, Ryan. The boys don't need this kind of shadow in their lives. He met her eyes, seeing the fierce protectiveness that had carried her through years alone. Neither do you. We'll figure it out. Together. The boys thundered downstairs, backpacks bouncing. Dad. Mom. Mason called, waving a sketch of a Venus flytrap. Can we see the carnivorous plants first? Only if you don't try to feed them your brothers, Amanda teased, ruffling his hair. As they piled into Ryan's SUV, the tension eased, replaced by the chaos of 3 6-year-olds planning their day. But Volkov's card burned a hole in Ryan's pocket, a reminder that his past ambition had built bridges and traps he couldn't ignore. The Botanic Garden was alive with color, maples blazing red and gold. Ethan led the charge, reading plant labels with the intensity of a scholar, while Dylan scouted paths like a general and Mason sketched everything in sight. Ryan and Amanda trailed behind, their conversation weaving between the boys' antics and quieter moments of shared history. Remember our first date? Amanda said, pausing by a lily pond. You tried to impress me with that rooftop restaurant. I was terrified of heights. Ryan chuckled. And you ordered the cheapest thing on the menu to mess with me. I was smitten. Her smile was soft, but guarded. We were different people then. Better ones now, he said, meaning it. Amanda, Dad, look. Ethan interrupted, pointing at a greenhouse. That's where the weird plants are. The moment broke, but Ryan felt it linger, a thread pulling them closer, fragile but real. Inside the greenhouse, humidity wrapped around them like a blanket. Ethan rattled off facts about pitcher plants, while Mason drew a plant monster, and Dylan tested how close he could get to a spiky cactus without touching it. Ryan watched Amanda guide them with quiet confidence, marveling at the life she'd built despite his absence. He'd missed so much, but every day now was a chance to make it right. His phone buzzed James again. Ryan stepped outside to take it, keeping an eye on the boys through the glass. What did you find? He asked. Volkov's not just some investor, James said, his voice tight. He's connected to a syndicate in Moscow, energy, tech, even politics. They've been buying up stakes in Western firms. But it's not always clean. Word is, he's got a personal stake in you. Personal how? Not sure yet. Something about a deal gone bad years ago, before you took over. Maybe tied to your dad or Victor. I'm digging, but Ryan, this guy doesn't play nice. Ryan's jaw clenched. Keep looking. And James? No leaks. Not to Victor, not to anyone. Understood. I owe you that much. Back inside, Amanda caught his expression. Trouble? Maybe, he admitted. Let's just enjoy today. But enjoyment came with a cost. That night, after the boys were asleep in their rooms, Ryan sat at his desk, digging into Harrison Global's archives. His father's deals from the 90s, when the company was still regional, were a maze of contracts and half-forgotten names. One caught his eye, a failed energy venture in Siberia, partnered with a Russian firm called Volkov Enterprises. The name hit like a brick. Had his father crossed Dimitri's family? Was this revenge? The next morning, Ryan drove the boys to school, their chatter a welcome distraction. Dylan was plotting a soccer strategy, Mason was pitching a comic about Plant Man, and Ethan was quizzing him on soil pH. "Dad, you're not listening," Ethan said, frowning. "Sorry, buddy," Ryan said, forcing a smile. "What's the question?" "Why do plants need nitrogen?" "I told you twice." Ryan laughed, explaining as best he could, but his mind was elsewhere. At the school gate, Dylan lingered. "You okay, Dad?" "You're all quiet." "Just thinking," Ryan said, ruffling his hair. "Go crush that math test." He met James at a diner in Queens, far from Manhattan's prying eyes. James slid a folder across the table. "Old records," he said. "Your dad's Siberian deal collapsed in '94. Volkov Enterprises lost millions. Rumor is, Dimitri's father blamed your family. He died a year later broke." Ryan flipped through faded documents, his father's signature staring back. "So Dimitri's settling a score?" "Could be. Or he's using it as leverage. He's been buying up your competitor's debt. If he moves against you, it's not just business, it's personal." Ryan's phone pinged. A photo from Amanda of the boys' art projects, captioned, "Miss you already." He smiled, but it faded fast. "What's his next move?" "Hard to say," James said. "He's patient. Could be waiting for you to slip." Ryan left the diner with more questions than answers. Back at Harrison Global, he called a meeting with his senior VPs, briefing them on the Eastern European expansion. "Double-check our contracts," he told them. "If anyone's sniffing around, I want to know." That evening, he went to Amanda's apartment, needing her perspective. She listened, her face calm but eyes sharp. "This Volkov guy, he's testing you," she said. "He wants to see if you'll crack." "I won't," Ryan said, but don't nod at him. "What if he goes after the boys?" "Then he's a fool," Amanda said fiercely. "We're not helpless, Ryan. But you need to know what he's really after." He nodded, grateful for her strength. "I'm flying to Moscow next week. I've got a contact there, an old friend of my dad's. If Volkov's playing a long game, I need to understand it." Amanda's brow creased. "Alone? No choice. I can't drag you or the boys into this." She touched his arm, a rare gesture. "Just come back to us." Moscow was a city of contrasts, golden domes against steel skyscrapers, history clashing with ambition. Ryan's contact, Ivan Petrov, met him at a cafe near Red Square. Ivan was in his 70s, a former geologist who'd worked with Ryan's father. His hand shook slightly as he poured tea, but his eyes were sharp. "Volkov," Ivan said, spitting the name. "His father was a snake. Dimitri's worse, smarter, colder. That Siberian deal? Your father walked away because Volkov Sr. wanted to cut corners, endanger lives. Dimitri never forgave the loss. Is he after revenge?" Ryan asked. Ivan shrugged. "Maybe. Or power. He's built an empire, but men like him always want more. If he's targeting you, it's because you're a symbol of what he can't have." Ryan absorbed this, the city's pulse loud in his ears. "Any advice?" "Don't show fear," Ivan said. "And don't trust anyone." Back at his hotel, Ryan found a note slipped under his door. "Meet me. Midnight. Arbat Street." No signature, but the handwriting was precise, almost elegant. Against his better judgment, he went. Arbat Street was alive with street musicians and late-night crowds. Volkov stood by a lamppost, his coat collar turned up against the wind. "You're bold, Mr. Harrison," he said, stepping forward. "Coming to my city. You left me no choice," Ryan said. "What do you want?" Volkov's smile was thin. "A partnership. Your company, my resources. Together, we could dominate the region. And if I say no, then things get complicated. For you. For your sons." Ryan's fists clenched. "Threaten my family again, and you'll regret it." Volkov raised an eyebrow. "Not a threat. A reality. You've built a good life, Ryan. Don't let pride destroy it." Ryan walked away, his heart pounding. Volkov wasn't just a businessman. He was a predator, and Ryan had wandered into his territory. He returned to New York with a plan. First, he tightened security for Amanda and the boys, discreet, but firm. Second, he tasked James with tracing Volkov's financial moves. Third, he sat the boys down, keeping it simple. "There's a man who doesn't like Dad's company. If anyone strange talks to you, tell me your mom right away." Dylan nodded, serious as ever. "We've got your back, Dad." Mason grinned. "Is he like a supervillain?" Ethan just watched, his quiet intensity unnerving. "Will you fix it?" "I will," Ryan promised, hoping he could keep it. Weeks passed, and Volkov's shadow grew. A key deal in Warsaw stalled, rumors of sabotage swirling. Ryan worked late, balancing boardroom battles with bedtime stories. Amanda became his anchor, her pragmatism cutting through his worry. "You're not alone in this," she said one night, as they washed dishes after the boys were asleep. "Whatever he throws at us, we'll handle it." One evening, Victor called, his voice gruff. "Heard about your Russian problem? Need my help?" Ryan hesitated. Victor had softened, but his methods were ruthless. "Not yet," he said. "But stay ready." The breakthrough came unexpectedly. James uncovered a paper trail linking Volkov to a shell company buying Harrison Global's debt. It was a slow chokehold, designed to force Ryan's hand. Armed with this, Ryan called Volkov, arranging a meeting in neutral territory, London. The London hotel was all glass and steel, a fitting stage. Volkov arrived alone, his demeanor calm but watchful. "You've been busy," he said, sipping espresso. "So have you," Ryan countered, sliding a folder across the table. "I know about your shell company. Keep pushing, and I'll expose you." Volkov's eyes narrowed. "And risk your own stock price? You're not that reckless." "Try me," Ryan said. "I've got 3 reasons to fight harder than you ever will." For the first time, Volkov looked uncertain. "You're not your father," he said finally. He ran. "You don't." "No," Ryan agreed. "I don't." They parted without a deal, but Ryan felt the shift. Volkov backed off, the debt purchases slowing. It wasn't victory, but it was breathing room. Back home, Ryan threw himself into the boys' world: soccer games, art shows, science fairs. Amanda joined him more often, their partnership deepening into something neither named, but both felt. One night, as they watched the boys chase fireflies in the backyard, she said, "You've changed, Ryan. For real this time." "So have you," he replied, taking her hand. "Think we've got a shot at more than this?" She didn't answer, but her smile was enough for now. Volkov remained a distant threat, a reminder that Ryan's empire came with enemies. But as he tucked Ethan into bed, listening to his son's endless questions about stars, Ryan knew his true wealth wasn't in boardrooms or bank accounts. It was here, in this messy, beautiful life he'd fought to claim. Ryan Harrison stood in the living room of his Park Slope brownstone, the early November light casting long shadows across the hardwood floor. The triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, were sprawled on a rug, surrounded by a fortress of couch cushions and blankets, their latest headquarters for an imaginary space mission. At 6 years old, they were a whirlwind of energy and ideas, each with a distinct spark: Dylan's fierce determination, Mason's boundless creativity, Ethan's quiet curiosity. Ryan watched them, a warmth in his chest battling the unease that had settled there since Dmitry Volkov's visit a week ago. The Russian's cryptic warning, "You've made enemies you don't even know about," echoed in his mind, a splinter he couldn't dislodge. Amanda was upstairs, unpacking a bag of the boys' clothes for their weekend stay. Her presence in the house felt natural now, a rhythm they'd built over the past year and a half since Ryan had spotted her and the boys outside Lucille. They weren't a couple, not yet, but the space between them had softened, filled with shared glances and unspoken possibilities. Ryan wanted to protect that fragility, but Volkov's shadow threatened to crack it. The Russian's black business card sat on the kitchen counter, a silent challenge. Ryan had spent days digging into Volkov's world, uncovering ties to a Moscow syndicate with tentacles in energy, tech, and politics. The man wasn't just a businessman. He was a chess master, and Ryan felt like a pawn in a game he didn't fully understand. His father's failed Siberian deal from the 90s, linked to Volkov Enterprises, hinted at a personal grudge, but the details were murky, buried in old contracts and forgotten grudges. "Dad," Mason's voice snapped him back. The boy waved a paper starship, its edges smudged with crayon. "We need a captain for the mission. You in?" Ryan grinned, crouching beside them. "Only if I get to fire the laser cannons." "No lasers," Ethan said solemnly, adjusting his glasses, a recent addition that made him look older than his years. "We're explorers, not fighters." "Speak for yourself," Dylan said, tossing a cushion like a grenade. "I'm taking out the aliens." Ryan laughed, letting their chaos pull him from his thoughts. But when Amanda descended the stairs, her expression shifted his focus. She'd found the card. He could tell by the tightness in her jaw. "Boys, go wash up for lunch," she said, her tone light but firm. The triplets groaned but obeyed, their footsteps thundering upstairs. Ryan met her gaze. "You're worried." Aren't you? She said, folding her arms. Some Russian tycoon shows up, name drops our kids, and you're acting like it's just another Tuesday. It's not, Ryan admitted, stepping closer. I've got James tracing his moves. And I met a contact in Moscow, Ivan Petrov. He knew my dad, said Volkov's got a vendetta, maybe from a deal that tanked years ago. Amanda's eyes narrowed. So it's personal. What does he want? Your company or your head? Both, maybe. Ryan ran a hand through his hair. He offered a partnership, but it felt like a trap. I told him to back off. And you think he will? Her voice was sharp, but underneath was fear, not for herself, but for the boys. No, Ryan said honestly. But I'm not letting him near you or them. I've got security on standby, and I'm digging deeper. We'll figure this out. She nodded, but her shoulders stayed tense. Just don't shut me out, Ryan. We're not doing this alone. Never, he promised. And for a moment, their hands brushed, a fleeting anchor. Lunch was a noisy affair, grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup, with Mason narrating a saga about a plant monster and Ethan quizzing Ryan on the science of bread crusts. Dylan, quieter than usual, watched Ryan closely, as if sensing the undercurrent. After they cleared the plates, Amanda suggested a walk to the park, a chance to burn off the boys' energy. Ryan agreed, needing the fresh air to clear his head. Prospect Park was alive with joggers and families, the trees a riot of red and gold. The boys raced ahead, Dylan leading a game of tag, while Ryan and Amanda followed, their pace slow. They're growing too fast, she said, watching Mason leap over a root. Feels like yesterday they were babies. You did an incredible job, Ryan said. All those years alone. I'll never stop regretting. Stop, she cut in, her voice gentle. You're here now? That's what matters. He wanted to say more, to ask about the future, about them, but his phone buzzed, shattering the moment. It was James. Found something big, the message read. Meet me tonight. Neutral spot. Ryan pocketed the phone, his jaw tight. Amanda noticed. Him again. James. He's got a lead. I'll see him later, after the boys are settled. She didn't push, but her silence spoke volumes. Ryan hated the distance it carved between them, but he couldn't ignore the threat. That evening, after Amanda took the boys home, Ryan drove to a dive bar in Red Hook, a place far from Harrison Global's gleaming towers. James was already there, nursing a beer, his usual polish replaced by a nervous edge. A folder sat on the table, thick with papers. Talk, Ryan said, sliding into the booth. James pushed the folder over. Volkov's been buying up your debt through proxies, small moves, hard to trace. But it's not just financial. He's got people watching you. Your routines, the boys' school, Amanda's job. Ryan's blood ran cold. Proof. Intercepted emails. One of his guys slipped up, used an unencrypted server. It's all here. Ryan flipped through the pages, schedules, photos, even a map of the boys' soccer field. His hands shook with rage. He's targeting my family. There's more, James said, leaning forward. That Siberian deal? It wasn't just a bust. Your dad found something, geological data, maybe oil or rare minerals. Volkov's father wanted it, but your dad pulled out, said it was too dangerous. Dmitri thinks you've got the data, or know where it is. Ryan frowned, trying to piece it together. I was a kid when Dad died. If he had something, it's long gone. Volkov doesn't think so. He's betting it's in your archives, or Victor's head. Ryan's mind raced. Victor had raised him after the car accident that killed his parents, turning him into a machine of ambition. Could he know something? What's Volkov's endgame? Ryan asked. Power, James said. That data could be worth billions, new energy fields, strategic leverage. If he controls you, he controls the key. Ryan left the bar with the folder, his thoughts a storm. Back home, he pored over the documents, cross-referencing with Harrison Global's records. Deep in a dusty file, he found a note in his father's handwriting. Siberia, V unstable. Data secured. Tell no one. No details, no location. Just a ghost of a secret. He called Victor, waking the old man. Did Dad ever mention a Siberian project? Something valuable, worth hiding? Victor's voice was groggy but sharp. Why? Just answer. A pause. He found something, maps, maybe samples. Said it was trouble. Burned most of it after Volkov's people came sniffing. Why now? Volkov's son, Ryan said. He's here. And he's not asking nicely. Victor cursed. Come to my place tomorrow. We'll talk. The next day, Ryan drove to Victor's Upper East Side penthouse, a fortress of glass and steel. Victor looked older than Ryan remembered, his silver hair thinner, but his green eyes, Harrison eyes, still burned. Over whiskey, he told the story. Ryan's father, Michael, had mapped a Siberian deposit, possibly lithium, critical for batteries. Volkov Enterprises wanted to exploit it recklessly, risking lives. Michael walked away, hiding the data to protect it. He died before he could tell me where, Victor said. I thought it was over. Dmitri doesn't, Ryan said, showing him James's findings. He's watching my family. Victor's face darkened. Then we fight. I've got contacts, old players, not all clean. We can push back. Ryan hesitated. Victor's way was war, and war left scars. I want him gone, not bloodied. The boys come first. Victor nodded, a rare concession. Then find the data. If it exists, it's your leverage. Ryan spent the week searching, tearing through archives, calling old colleagues of his father's. Amanda helped, her design-trained eye-catching patterns and faded documents. One night, as they worked late in her apartment, she found a letter tucked in a ledger, a coded message from Michael to Victor, mentioning a safe place in the Adirondacks where the family had a cabin. It's a long shot, Ryan said, exhausted but hopeful. Then we go, Amanda replied. All of us. The cabin was a 5-hour drive. A rustic retreat untouched since Ryan's childhood. The boys were thrilled, treating it like an adventure, while Ryan and Amanda searched. Dylan found a loose floorboard in the attic, revealing a metal box. Inside were maps, geological surveys, and a journal, Michael's record of the Siberian find. It wasn't just lithium, it was a rare isotope, potentially revolutionary for energy. No wonder Volkov wanted it. Back in Brooklyn, Ryan faced a choice: destroy the data or use it. Amanda was clear: burn it. It's not worth the risk. But Ryan saw another path. He contacted Volkov, arranging a meeting in Zurich, neutral ground. The Russian arrived alone, his blue eyes cold but curious. Ryan slid the box across the table. This what you're after? Volkov opened it, his face unreadable. You surprise me. It's yours, Ryan said. On one condition: you leave my family alone. Forever. And if I don't? Then it's ashes. And I bury you with it, legally, financially, whatever it takes. Volkov studied him, then nodded. We have a deal. Months later, Volkov faded from their lives, his empire shifting focus elsewhere. Ryan never knew if he'd kept the data or destroyed it, but the threat was gone. Harrison Global thrived, its Eastern deals intact. Ryan and Amanda grew closer, not rushing but building dinners, school events, quiet nights planning the boys' futures. One spring evening, as they watched Dylan score a goal, Mason sketched the crowd, and Ethan read on the sidelines. Ryan took her hand. Think we're ready for more? He asked. She squeezed back. Maybe. Let's find out. The boys ran to them, sweaty and laughing, and Ryan felt it. The life he'd almost lost, now is forever. The Brooklyn air was crisp as Ryan Harrison locked the front door of his Park Slope brownstone, the memory of the Zurich meeting with Dmitri Volkov still sharp in his mind. It had been 3 months since he'd handed over the metal box containing his father's Siberian data, maps, surveys, a journal detailing a rare isotope deposit. Volkov had agreed to back off, promising to leave Ryan's family alone. The Russian's nod had felt like a truce, but Ryan knew better than to trust a man whose empire thrived on shadows. Every quiet day since felt like a held breath, waiting for the storm to break. Inside, the house buzzed with life. Amanda was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner, while the triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, lounged in the living room, their voices a chaotic symphony. At 6.5, they were growing fast, their personalities sharpening like knives. Dylan, the protector, was plotting a soccer trick to impress his coach. Mason, the dreamer, was sketching a comic about a time-traveling dinosaur. Ethan, the thinker, was buried in a book about quantum physics, asking questions that made Ryan's head spin. Dad, Mason called, waving a crayon-smudged page. Check this out. Rex goes to Moscow. Ryan paused, his smile tightening. Moscow, huh? What's he doing there? Fighting snow monsters. Mason said, oblivious to the weight the city's name carried. Amanda caught Ryan's eye from the kitchen, her knife pausing mid-slice. She knew about Zurich, about the deal, but they'd agreed to keep it from the boys. Dinner's in 20, she said, her tone light but pointed. No monsters at the table. Ryan joined her, grabbing a carrot to chop. They're fine, he murmured. Just kids being kids. It's not them I'm worried about, she replied, lowering her voice. You've been jumpy all week. Something's up. He hesitated. Amanda's intuition was uncanny, honed by years of reading people, him included. Nothing concrete, he said finally. Just a feeling. Volkov's too quiet. Her jaw tightened. You think he's playing us? Maybe. James is watching his moves, but it's like chasing smoke. She set the knife down, turning to face him. Ryan, we can't live like this, waiting for him to strike. The boys deserve better. I know, he said, his voice rough. I'm handling it. But handling it was easier said than done. Harrison Global Ventures was thriving, its Baltic deals closing despite early hiccups, but Ryan felt the pressure mounting. The board, led by Abigail Chin since Victor's semi-retirement, praised his work-life balance experiment, but whispers of Russian interference lingered. A Warsaw contract had nearly collapsed last week, saved only by a last-minute renegotiation. Ryan suspected Volkov's hand, though he had no proof. Dinner was a welcome distraction, spaghetti and meatballs, the boys' favorite. Dylan recounted his soccer practice with military precision. Mason spun a tale about a pasta planet, and Ethan asked why tomatoes were fruits, not vegetables. Amanda laughed, her guard dropping, and Ryan felt a pang of gratitude for these moments, ordinary, yet priceless. After the boys were tucked in, Ryan and Amanda sat on the couch, a glass of wine each. The house was quiet, save for the hum of the city outside. They're happy, she said, swirling her glass. Really happy. I never thought we'd get here. Me neither, Ryan admitted. But we did. Because of you. She shook her head. Us. You showed up, Ryan. That's what counts. He reached for her hand, his thumb tracing her knuckles. I want more than this, Amanda. Not just co-parenting. A real shot together. Her breath caught, but she didn't pull away. I'm scared, she confessed. What if it falls apart again? Then we fix it, he said. I'm not the guy who walked away 6 years ago. And you're not alone anymore. She leaned closer, their foreheads almost touching. Slow, she whispered. We go slow. Slow works, he said, and kissed her, a soft, tentative promise. The moment shattered when his phone buzzed. A text from James, Volkov's in New York. Spotted at JFK. Call me now. Ryan's stomach dropped. He showed Amanda the screen, and her face hardened. What does he want? Only one way to find out, Ryan said, dialing James. He landed an hour ago, James said, his voice tense. Private jet. No itinerary filed. My guy at customs says he's with a woman, maybe his daughter. They're headed to Manhattan. Daughter. Ryan frowned. Volkov had mentioned a daughter in Zurich, a rare crack in his armor. What's her deal? No clue. She's off the grid, no records, no socials. But if she's here, it's big. Volkov doesn't move without a plan. Ryan hung up, his mind racing. Amanda watched him, her eyes sharp. You're not meeting him alone, she said. Not this time. He won't come near you or the boys, Ryan promised. I'll handle it at the office, neutral ground. But Volkov didn't wait for invitations. The next morning, as Ryan dropped the boys at school, his phone rang an unknown number with a Russian country code. He answered, his pulse spiking. Mr. Harrison, Volkov's voice was smooth, like ice over steel. We should talk. Today. The plaza, noon. Why are you here? Ryan demanded. To finish what we started. Bring the journal. Ryan's blood ran cold. He'd given Volkov the box in Zurich, maps, surveys, everything but the journal, which he'd kept as insurance. Michael's handwritten notes were too personal, a piece of his father he couldn't surrender. I don't have it, he lied. Volkov chuckled, low and dangerous. Don't play games, Ryan. Noon. The line went dead. Ryan gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. He called Amanda, filling her in. Stay with the boys, he said. I'm doubling security. I'm not hiding, she snapped. Figure out what he wants, but don't do anything stupid. At Harrison Global's Manhattan headquarters, Ryan prepared for battle. He locked the journal in his office safe, then briefed his security team, discreet professionals Victor had recommended. James arrived, looking haggard, with a USB drive of new intel. Volkov's daughter, he said, plugging it into Ryan's laptop. Her name's Sophia. Early 20s, Oxford-educated, runs a charity front for his shadier deals. She's his weak spot. A photo loaded, Sophia Volkov, pale and sharp-featured, with her father's blue eyes. Ryan studied her, searching for leverage. If she's here, he's not just after the journal. Exactly, James said. He's doubling down. Noon found Ryan at the plaza's oak room, a wood-paneled relic of old money. Volkov sat at a corner table, impeccably dressed, Sophia beside him. She was younger than Ryan expected, her posture rigid, like a soldier awaiting orders. Volkov stood as Ryan approached, his smile thin. "Ryan," he said, gesturing to Sophia. "My daughter." "Sophia, Mr. Harrison." She nodded, her gaze piercing. "I've heard much about you." "Wish I could say the same," Ryan replied, sitting. "What's this about?" Volkov sipped his coffee, unrushed. "The journal. You kept it." Ryan leaned back, feigning calm. "And if I did?" "It's not just nostalgia," Volkov said. "Your father's notes hold the key to the isotopes extraction, a process he never shared. Without it, the data is useless." Ryan's mind raced. The journal had equations, scribbled theories, but nothing clear. Had Michael hidden more than he'd realized? "You got what you wanted in Zurich," Ryan said. "Why risk coming here?" Sophia spoke, her voice clipped. "Because the world is changing. Clean energy isn't a dream, it's power. Whoever controls that isotope controls the future." Ryan studied her. She wasn't just her father's shadow. She believed this. "And you think I'll hand it over?" "No," Volkov said. "But you'll trade. For peace." "Peace?" Ryan's laugh was bitter. "You've been watching my kids." Sophia's eyes flickered, surprise, maybe guilt. Volkov's expression didn't change. "A precaution," he said. "You're a father. You understand." "I understand you're a threat," Ryan shot back. "Name your price and leave us alone." Volkov leaned forward. "The journal and a partnership. Harrison Global joins my consortium. Together, we unlock the isotope's potential, billions in profit, shared." "And if I refuse?" Sophia answered, her voice soft but firm. "Then we take what we need, legally or otherwise." Ryan stood, his chair scraping. "Stay away from my family, or you'll regret it." Volkov's smile didn't waver. "You have until Friday. Think carefully." Back at the office, Ryan paced, the journal burning a hole in his thoughts. He called Victor, who was blunt. Give him nothing. He's bluffing. But Ryan wasn't sure. Sophia's presence changed the game. She wasn't just muscle, she was strategy. He needed an edge. That night, he drove to Amanda's apartment, the boys already asleep. She listened as he explained, her face pale but resolute. "We can't keep running," she said. "If that journal's the key, use it, bait him, trap him." Ryan nodded, an idea forming. "What if we leak a fake? Let him chase a ghost?" Her eyes lit up. "Can James pull it off?" "He owes me," Ryan said grimly. Over the next 2 days, James forged a decoy journal, convincing enough to fool Volkov, filled with dead-end formulas. Ryan arranged a drop, public and controlled, Grand Central Station, Thursday night. Security would watch, ready to trace Volkov's next move. But Volkov was a step ahead. Wednesday morning, Ryan got a call from Dylan's school. Someone had tried to pick him up, claiming to be a family friend. The teacher, suspicious, sent them away, but the description matched one of Volkov's men. Ryan raced to the school, heart pounding, Amanda meeting him there. The boys were safe, shaken but unharmed, drawing in the principal's office. "They're okay," Amanda said, hugging him fiercely. "But this ends now." Ryan agreed. He scrapped the Grand Central plan, too risky. Instead, he called Ivan Petrov in Moscow, begging for insight. Ivan was blunt. Volkov fears exposure. His daughter's charity, dig there. It's dirty. James hacked into Sophia's foundation, uncovering laundered funds tied to Volkov's syndicate. Ryan leaked it anonymously to Interpol, timing it with a direct message to Volkov, "Back off, or your empire falls." Friday came, and Volkov didn't call. News broke of Sophia's charity under investigation. Her name splashed across headlines. Ryan watched from his office, Amanda beside him, as Volkov's jet left JFK, destination unknown. "He's not done," Ryan said, staring at the skyline. "No," Amanda agreed. "But we are." For now. That weekend, they took the boys to Coney Island, a rare escape. Dylan rode the Cyclone, fearless. Mason sketched the boardwalk, vibrant with life. Ethan collected seashells, analyzing their patterns. Ryan and Amanda walked the shore, hands entwined, the future uncertain but theirs. "We're stronger than him," she said, the wind catching her hair. Ryan kissed her, tasting salt and hope. "Always will be." The Coney Island boardwalk stretched before Ryan Harrison like a ribbon of fading summer, its neon lights dimming as dusk settled over Brooklyn. The triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, darted ahead, their laughter cutting through the hum of arcade games and distant waves. At 6.5, they were a force of nature. Dylan charging toward a ring-toss booth with competitive fire, Mason sketching the Ferris wheel's silhouette in a tattered notebook, Ethan crouching to inspect a cracked seashell with scientific precision. Amanda walked beside Ryan, her hand warm in his, her hair catching the salt breeze. Their kiss on the shore moments ago lingered, a quiet vow to face whatever came next together. But Ryan's mind was uneasy. Dmitry Volkov's retreat after the Interpol leak felt too clean, too sudden. The Russian's jet had left New York a week ago, his daughter Sophia's charity crumbling under scrutiny, yet Ryan sensed the game wasn't over. Volkov wasn't a man to fold. He was a strategist, patient and ruthless. The journal, Michael Harrison's handwritten notes on a Siberian isotope deposit, had been Ryan's leverage, but giving it up in Zurich hadn't bought the peace he'd hoped. Sophia's parting words at the plaza, "We take what we need," echoed like a warning shot. "Dad, look," Dylan shouted, waving a stuffed shark he'd won. "I'm gonna call him Jaws." "Nice aim," Ryan called back, forcing a grin. Amanda squeezed his hand, her eyes searching. "You're doing it again," she said softly. "Thinking about him." Ryan sighed, glancing at the boys to ensure they were out of earshot. "I can't shake it, Amanda. Volkov's not done. That leak hurts Sophia, not him. He's planning something." She nodded, her jaw tight. "Then we plan too. No more waiting." Her resolve steadied him. Amanda had always been his anchor, 6 years ago, when he'd pushed her away, and now, as they rebuilt something stronger. "I've got James digging deeper," Ryan said. "And Victor's offered his old contacts. But I need to know what Volkov's after, really after." "Besides the journal?" she asked. "That's the thing. I don't think it's just about the isotope anymore. It's personal. My dad crossed his father. This feels like a debt." The boys ran back, Ethan clutching his seashell like a treasure. "Can we keep it?" he asked, eyes wide behind his glasses. "All yours, buddy," Ryan said, ruffling his hair. But his smile faded as he noticed a man lingering near the cotton candy stand. Tall, broad-shouldered, his gaze too fixed on them. Ryan's security training kicked in. He signaled Amanda with a glance, and she subtly herded the boys toward the arcade. "Stay here," Ryan murmured, approaching the man. Up close, he was younger than expected, with a scar above his brow and a faint Russian accent when he spoke. "Mr. Harrison," the man said, hands in his pockets. "A message from Sofia Volkov. She wants to meet. Alone. Tomorrow, Brooklyn Bridge, dusk." "Why?" Ryan demanded, his voice low. "She didn't say, but she said to bring nothing. No journal, no tricks. Just you." Ryan's gut twisted. Sophia, not Dmitry. Was this a fracture in their alliance or a new trap? "Tell her I'll think about it." The man nodded and melted into the crowd. Ryan rejoined Amanda, filling her in as the boys played skee-ball, oblivious. Her face darkened. "You're not going alone." "I might have to," Ryan said. "If Sophie is breaking ranks, it's a chance to understand their game." "Then I'm nearby," she insisted. "With security. We're not losing you." That night, back at the brownstone, Ryan tucked the boys into bed, their rooms a chaotic gallery of soccer trophies, drawings, and science kits. Dylan asked for a story about pirates. Mason wanted one about dinosaurs, and Ethan, ever serious, asked, "Dad, what's Moscow like?" Ryan paused, the question catching him off guard. "Cold," he said finally. "Big. Full of old buildings and secrets." "Like a castle?" Ethan pressed. "More like a puzzle," Ryan said, kissing his forehead. "Sleep tight." Downstairs, Amanda waited, her laptop open to a map of the Brooklyn Bridge. "If you're doing this," she said, "we plan every step." They stayed up late, plotting. Ryan's security team, ex-military, loyal to Victor, would blend into the crowd, watching from a distance. Amanda would stay close, posing as a tourist, her phone linked to Ryan's for instant contact. James, despite Ryan's lingering distrust, was tasked with hacking Sophia's recent communications, searching for cracks in her loyalty to her father. Morning brought a flurry of preparations. Ryan dropped the boys at school, their chatter about a class trip to the zoo a fleeting bomb. Dylan hugged him longer than usual. "You're coming to my game tomorrow, right?" "Wouldn't miss it," Ryan promised, but his heart clenched. He hated lying, even by omission. At Harrison Global, Ryan buried himself in work, finalizing a Riga deal while keeping one eye on his phone. James called at noon, his voice hushed. Sophia's been emailing someone in London, not her father. Looks like a lawyer. She's moving money fast. For what? Ryan asked. Could be an exit strategy. Or a power grab. Either way, she's nervous. Ryan hung up, his mind spinning. If Sophia was betraying Volkov, she was a wild card, dangerous, but useful. He texted Amanda. Meeting's on. Be ready. Dusk painted the Brooklyn Bridge in gold and shadow, its cables humming with the city's pulse. Ryan walked the pedestrian path, his coat collar up against the chill. Tourists snapped photos, joggers weaved past, but he felt exposed, every glance a potential threat. Amanda was 50 yards back, her red scarf a deliberate marker. Security trailed discreetly, their earpieces silent. Sophia appeared ahead, alone, her pale face framed by a black hood. She looked younger without her father's shadow, but her eyes were hard, like chipped ice. You came, she said, stopping a few feet away. You didn't give me much choice, Ryan replied, scanning for her backup. None visible, yet. I'm not my father, she said, her voice low. I want out. Ryan blinked, caught off guard. Out of what? His world. His deals, his enemies. I've been his pawn since I was a child. The charity was my cover, but it's gone. Interpol's closing in, and he'll let me burn to save himself. Why tell me? Ryan asked, wary. Because you're different, she said. You chose your sons over power. I want that chance for me, for my future. Ryan studied her, searching for the lie. Her hands trembled slightly, betraying nerves. What's the catch? I have information, she said. My father's planning to sabotage your Baltic deals, cyber attacks, bribes, maybe worse. He's partnered with a man named Grigory Kuznetsov, an oligarch with no rules. They want your company broken, your family scared. Give me asylum, and I'll give you everything, names, accounts, proof. Ryan's pulse raced. Asylum was a leap, legal, dangerous, a direct challenge to Volkov. Why should I trust you? You shouldn't, Sophia admitted. But I know where he's weakest. His pride. His need for control. I'm his blind spot. He hesitated, the city's hum fading to a dull roar. Amanda's scarf flashed in his peripheral vision, grounding him. I need time, he said finally. And proof. 24 hours, Sophia said, slipping him a flash drive. This is a start. Meet me tomorrow. Same place. Don't bring your guards. She vanished into the crowd, leaving Ryan with the drive and 1,000 questions. He rejoined Amanda, who was pale but composed. What did she want? She asked, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. A way out, Ryan said, pocketing the drive. Or a trap. Back at the brownstone, they plugged the drive into a secure laptop, James on speakerphone. It held emails, bank records, and a memo detailing Kuznetsov's role, a brutal oligarch with a history of corporate warfare. Volkov's plan was clear: cripple Harrison Global's eastern expansion, then buy its assets cheap. The boys weren't mentioned, but Ryan felt their weight in every line. She's telling the truth, James said. Or part of it. Kuznetsov's real bad news. Amanda's voice was steel. If she's turning on her father, we use it. But we don't trust her. Ryan nodded, exhaustion settling in. I'll call Victor. He'll know someone at state who can handle asylum discreetly. Victor, when reached, was skeptical but intrigued. Sophia's smart, he said. If she's defecting, she's desperate. But Volkov won't let her go quietly. Watch your back. The next day, Ryan kept his promise to Dylan, cheering at his soccer game despite the storm brewing. The boy scored twice, his grin brighter than the sun. Mason sketched the field, Ethan read beside Amanda, and for a few hours, Ryan was just a dad. But dusk loomed, and with it, Sophia's deadline. The Brooklyn Bridge was colder tonight, the crowd thinner. Ryan spotted Sophia near the Manhattan Tower, her hood down, hair catching the wind. She looked vulnerable, but Ryan stayed sharp. Amanda watched from a distance, security tied her after yesterday's scare. You have my answer? Sophia asked, her voice barely audible. I'll help, Ryan said. But I need more. Kuznetsov's plan's specifics. She handed him a second drive. It's all there. Get me out by tomorrow, or he'll find me. Ryan took it, but before he could speak, a black SUV screeched onto the bridge's access road. Two men jumped out, Volkov's, no doubt. Sophia froze, her eyes wide with panic. Run, Ryan shouted, grabbing her arm. They sprinted toward Brooklyn, weaving through startled pedestrians. Amanda's voice crackled in his earpiece, security's moving in. Gunshots rang out, sharp and deafening. Ryan tackled Sophia behind a bench, his heart pounding. Security engaged, shouts and sirens erupting. The attackers fled, tires squealing, but not before a bullet grazed Ryan's shoulder, a hot sting he barely registered. Amanda reached them, her face ashen. "You're hit," she gasped, pressing her scarf to the wound. "It's nothing," Ryan lied, pain flaring. Sophia was shaking, unharmed but rattled. "They weren't aiming to kill," she whispered. "He wants me alive." Security hustled them to a safe house in Dumbo, a nondescript loft Victor owned. A medic patched Ryan's shoulder, superficial, but sore, while Amanda stayed close, her hand on his. Sophia sat apart, staring at the floor, her bravado gone. "We can't stay here," Ryan said, wincing as the medic finished. "Volkov's coming for her and us." Amanda nodded, her voice fierce. "Then we end this. Use her intel. Hit him where it hurts." Ryan spent the night analyzing the second drive with James, who joined them under protest. Kuznetsov's cyber attacks were imminent, targeting Harrison Global's servers, timed for a shareholder meeting next week. But Sophia's files also revealed Volkov's personal accounts, hidden in Cyprus, vulnerable to seizure. "We freeze his money," Ryan said, dawn breaking outside. "Interpol's already on him. This'll cripple him." Sophia looked up, her voice hollow. "He'll kill me for this." "Not if we protect you," Ryan said, meeting her eyes. "You're our leverage now." Victor arranged a meeting with a State Department contact, securing Sophia's asylum in exchange for her testimony. By noon, she was gone, whisked to a safe location Ryan wasn't privy to. He felt no pity. Her betrayal had endangered his family, but he understood her desperation. Survival was a brutal motivator. Volkov's empire unraveled fast. The Cyprus accounts were seized, Kuznetsov distanced himself, and Harrison Global servers held firm, thanks to James's countermeasures. Ryan stood in his office a week later, watching the skyline, Amanda beside him. The boys were safe, back to school, their world intact. "He's not gone," Ryan said, the weight of it heavy. "No," Amanda agreed, her hand finding his. "But we're ready." That night, they took the boys to Central Park, a family unbroken. Dylan kicked a soccer ball, Mason drew the stars, Ethan asked about galaxies. Ryan held Amanda close. Central Park was a kaleidoscope of autumn, its paths carpeted with crimson and gold leaves that crunched underfoot. Ryan Harrison walked hand in hand with Amanda, their steps slow as they trailed the triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, who darted ahead like sparks from a fire. At 6.5, the boys were unstoppable, Dylan kicking a soccer ball with fierce precision, Mason sketching a squirrel mid-leap, Ethan pausing to inspect a leaf's veins with a pocket magnifying glass he'd insisted on carrying everywhere. The evening air was crisp, carrying the scent of roasted chestnuts from a nearby vendor, and for a moment, Ryan let himself believe the world was as simple as this, a family together, unbroken. But simplicity was a luxury he couldn't afford. Dmitry Volkov's empire was crumbling, his Cyprus accounts frozen, his daughter Sophia in hiding under U.S. protection, his ally Grigory Kuznetsov backing away. But Ryan knew predators didn't vanish quietly. The Russian silence since the Interpol leak felt like a coiled spring, ready to snap. Ryan's shoulder, still sore from the graze on the Brooklyn Bridge, was a daily reminder. Volkov played for keeps, and the game wasn't over. Amanda squeezed his hand, her green eyes catching the fading light. "You're doing it again," she said, her voice soft but pointed, staring into space like he's hiding behind a tree. Ryan forced a smile, glancing at the boys to ensure they were safe. "Can you blame me? After everything?" "No," she admitted, her tone softening. "But we won, Ryan. He's gone, at least for now. Don't let him steal this." She was right, as always. The past weeks had been a whirlwind. Sophia's defection, the bridge ambush, the frantic moves to shield their family. Yet here they were, the boys laughing, Amanda beside him, their bond stronger than ever. Their kiss at Coney Island a week ago had been a turning point, not a leap back to their old romance, but a step towards something new, built on trust and time. Ryan wanted to protect it, to protect them, but Volkov's shadow clung like damp fog. "Dad," Ethan called, waving his magnifying glass. "This leaf has tiny holes. Bugs or disease." Ryan crouched beside him, grateful for the distraction. "Let's investigate, Professor. What's your hypothesis?" As Ethan launched into a theory about aphids, Dylan dribbled his ball closer, smirking. "Bugs are boring. But I can score on you, Dad." "Challenge accepted," Ryan said, standing. He jogged to an open patch, Dylan hot on his heels, while Mason sketched the scene, his pencil a blur. Amanda watched, her smile warm but tinged with worry. She felt it too, the unease beneath the surface. That night, Back at the brownstone, Ryan tucked the boys into their rooms, each a reflection of their spark. Dylan's plastered with sports posters, Mason's a gallery of drawings, Ethan's lined with books and gadgets. Dylan asked for a soccer story, Mason wanted a tale about a leaf detective, and Ethan, ever serious, said, "Dad, are we safe?" Ryan's heart skipped. Ethan's intuition was uncanny, like a radar for truth. "You're safe," Ryan said, sitting on the bed. "Mom and I make sure of it." "Even from bad guys?" Ethan pressed, his glasses glinting in the lamplight. "Especially them," Ryan said, forcing confidence. "Now sleep. Big day tomorrow." Downstairs, Amanda was on the couch, a glass of red wine untouched. Ryan joined her, his own glass a prop to steady his nerves. "Ethan's asking questions," he said, keeping his voice low. "He senses something." She nodded, unsurprised. "He's always been like that, sees what others miss. We need to be straight with them, Ryan. Not everything, but enough." "Agreed," he said. "But first, we need to know what we're dealing with." James called earlier, Volkov's gone quiet, but Kuznetsov's making noise. "New deals in Tallinn, cutting into our territory." Amanda's brow furrowed. "The other Russian? I thought he bailed." "So did I. Either he's picking up Volkov's pieces, or they're still in this together." She set her glass down, her face resolute. "Then we dig deeper. No more surprises." Ryan admired her fire, the way she faced threats head-on. "I've got a lead," he said. "An old friend of my dad's, Natalia Petrova. She worked with him in Siberia, lives in Brighton Beach now. If anyone knows what Volkov and Kuznetsov want, it's her." "Brighton Beach?" Amanda raised an eyebrow. "Little Odessa? That's a bold move." "Necessary," Ryan said. "I'm going tomorrow." "Alone?" Her eyes flashed. "Like hell you are." "I'm coming." He started to argue, but her look silenced him. "Fine," he said. "But we keep it quiet. The boys stay with Victor." Morning brought chaos, breakfast spilled. Backpacks misplaced, Ethan quizzing Ryan about soil microbes. Victor arrived to collect the boys, his silver hair neatly combed, a stark contrast to the chaos. At 62, he'd softened since meeting his great-nephews, but his green eyes, Harrison eyes, still held a predator's edge. "Uncle Victor," Mason shouted, waving a drawing. "It's you as a wizard." Victor's lips twitched, a rare smile. "Impressive, young man. Perhaps I'll cast a spell for order." Dylan smirked. "Good luck with that." Ethan hugged Ryan tightly. "Be careful, Dad." Ryan's throat tightened. "Always, buddy." Brighton Beach was a world apart from Park Slope, its streets alive with Russian signs, the air thick with borscht and brine. Natalia Petrova's apartment was above a bakery, its windows steamed from fresh pierogi. She was in her 70s, wiry and sharp, with a smoker's rasp and eyes that missed nothing. Her living room was a shrine to her past, photos of Siberian rigs, a samovar gleaming on a shelf. "You're Michael's boy," she said, pouring tea without asking. "Same jaw. Same trouble." Ryan sat, Amanda beside him, her presence a steady anchor. "We need your help," he said. "Dmitry Volkov. Grigory Kuznetsov. They're after something my father hid, an isotope deposit." Natalia's face darkened. "That cursed find. Michael was smart to bury it. Volkov's father wanted to gut the land, no care for the cost. Kuznetsov was worse, sold his soul for profit." "What do they want now?" Amanda asked, her voice calm but firm. "The same," Natalia said, lighting a cigarette. "Power. That isotope's a game changer, batteries, reactors, weapons if they're reckless. Dimitri's patient, builds empires. Grigory's a brute, breaks them. Together, they're poison." Ryan leaned forward. "My dad's journal. Did it hold the key?" Natalia exhaled smoke, studying him. "Part of it. Extraction codes, maybe. But Michael scattered the truth, some in his notes, some in his head, some with me." Amanda's eyes widened. "You have it." "Fragments," Natalia said, tapping her temple. "And a map, locked away. I swore to Michael I'd guard it." "We need it," Ryan said. "To stop them." Natalia laughed, a dry bark. "Stop them? You're a businessman, not a soldier. Give them what they want, they'll eat you alive. Fight, and they'll burn your world." "Our world's already at stake," Amanda said, her voice steel. "Our sons." Natalia's gaze softened, just a fraction. "Sons," she murmured. "Michael spoke of you, Ryan, even then." "All right, I'll help for him." She retrieved a small safe from under a floorboard, pulling out a faded map and a USB drive. The map's partial, deposit locations coded. "The drive has Michael's logs, my notes." It's not enough alone, but with your journal, it's dangerous. Ryan took them, his hands steady despite the weight. Thank you. Don't thank me, Natalia said. You're stirring a hornet's nest. Back in the car, Amanda clutched the map, her face pale. This is bigger than we thought. Too big, Ryan agreed. We can't keep it. But we can't destroy it either, not yet. They drove to Victor's penthouse, where the boys were building a pillow fort under his grudging supervision. Dylan tackled Ryan, Mason showed Amanda a new sketch, and Ethan asked, "Did you find a treasure map?" Ryan laughed, dodging the truth. Something like that. Victor pulled them aside, his voice low. What did Petrovus say? Ryan briefed him, showing the map. Victor's eyes narrowed. Kuznetsov's the real threat. Volkov's cunning, but Grigori's a butcher. If they're after this, they'll kill for it. Then we outsmart them, Amanda said. Use the map as bait. Ryan nodded, a plan forming. We leak a sale, say I'm shopping the data. Draw them out, expose their moves. Victor grunted approval. Risky, but smart. The next week was a chess game. James spread rumors of a black market deal, while Ryan's security tracked Kuznetsov's men sniffing around New York. Amanda took the boys to school, her eyes scanning for threats, her calm belying her fear. One night, as they readied for bed, Dylan asked, Dad, are bad guys after us? Ryan knelt, meeting his gaze. Some people want things we have, but we're stronger. You, me, Mom, Ethan, Mason, we're a team. Dylan nodded, reassured but not convinced. Ryan hated the lie, however small. The trap sprang in Jersey City, a warehouse staged as the deals meet. Ryan's team posed as buyers, the map a decoy laced with trackers. Kuznetsov's men arrived, hulking, armed, but Volkov's absence was telling. A firefight erupted, contained by Ryan's security, and the Russians fled, leaving the decoy behind. The trackers led to a Manhattan hotel, where James hacked their comms, confirming Kuznetsov's rage, and Vol Abigail Chin's call interrupted. Ryan, our Talon deal's tanking. Someone's flooding the market with cheap contracts. Kuznetsov, Ryan growled. He's hitting us where it hurts. Amanda, listening in, said, then hit back. Use Natalia's drive, expose him. Ryan hesitated. Exposure meant escalation, risking the boys. But silence was surrender. He greenlit James to leak Kuznetsov's deals to the press, tying him to illegal trades. By morning, headlines screamed, and Kuznetsov's allies scattered. Volkov surfaced days later, a video call Ryan hadn't expected. His face was gaunt, his blue eyes cold. You've made a mess, Harrison. You started it, Ryan shot back. Leave us alone, or I finish it. Volkov's laugh was hollow. You think Kuznetsov's my leash? He's a tool. The isotope's mine, always was. Then come get it, Ryan said, bluffing. But you'll fall alone. The call ended, and Ryan felt the noose tighten. Amanda, beside him, said, he's desperate. That's our edge. They took the boys to the Adirondacks, a retreat to clear their heads. The cabin, where they'd found Michael's box, felt like a sanctuary. Dylan fished, Mason painted the lake, Ethan studied rocks. Ryan and Amanda sat by the fire, the map and drive hidden in a safe. We could run, Ryan said, half serious. Disappear. She shook her head. Not us. We fight for them. He kissed her, fierce and certain. For them. Back in New York, Ryan met Abigail, securing the board's support to weather Kuznetsov's sabotage. James traced Volkov to London, planning a new strike. Natalia called, warning of a Russian hacker targeting Ryan's servers. The war wasn't over, but Ryan felt ready, not just as a CEO, but as a father, a partner. One night, as the boys slept, Amanda curled against him, her voice a whisper. We're winning, Ryan. Whatever comes next, we're together. He held her, the future a fragile promise. Volkov loomed, but so did hope, a family forged in fire, stronger than any empire. The Adirondack cabin was a haven of pine and quiet, its wooden walls glowing under the late November sun. Ryan Harrison sat on the porch, a mug of coffee cooling in his hands, watching the triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, explore the lakeside. At 6.5, their energy was boundless. Dylan skipped stones with fierce concentration, aiming for a distant log. Mason perched on a rock, sketching the water's ripples. Ethan knelt in the mud, examining a frog with the intensity of a biologist. Amanda was inside, packing their gear for the drive back to Brooklyn, her laughter drifting through the open window as she sorted the boys' mismatched socks. These moments, raw, unscripted, were Ryan's anchor, a reminder of what he fought for. But the fight was far from over. Dmitry Volkov's shadow loomed, His London retreat a tactical pause, not surrender. Grigory Kuznetsov's sabotage had shaken Harrison Global Ventures, with the Tallinn deal still wobbling under flooded markets. Natalia Petrova's map and USB drive, tucked in a safe beside Michael Harrison's journal, held secrets to a Siberian isotope deposit, a prize that could reshape energy or unleash chaos. Ryan had leaked Kuznetsov's dirty deals, slowing him, but Volkov's video call days ago, the isotope's mine, rang like a bell he couldn't unhear. The Russian wasn't just chasing power, he was settling a score, one rooted in Ryan's father's betrayal decades ago. Amanda stepped onto the porch, her green eyes catching the light. "They're filthy," she said, nodding at the boys. "Think we can hose them down before the car?" Ryan chuckled, but it faded fast. "They're happy," he said. "I want to keep it that way." She sat beside him, her hand finding his. "You're worried about London." "Volkov." "Always," he admitted. "He's planning something bigger than Kuznetsov's stunts. Natalia's intel says he's got hackers now, targeting our servers." Her jaw tightened. "Then we hit first. Use the map, the drive, draw him out." Ryan shook his head. "Too risky. If they get the full data, it's game over. Not just for us, for everyone." She leaned closer, her voice fierce. "We're not helpless, Ryan. The boys, us, we're stronger than him." He kissed her forehead, drawing strength from her fire. Their bond had deepened since Coney Island, a slow burn towards something lasting. But Volkov's threat tested it daily, a blade hovering over their family. "Dad," Dylan shouted, waving a flat stone. "I got 5 skips. Beat that." Ryan stood, grateful for the challenge. "You're on," he called, joining them. The boys cheered as he tossed a stone, 3 skips, to Dylan's delight. Mason sketched Ryan's attempt, giggling, while Ethan offered a theory on water tension. Amanda watched, her smile a quiet promise. They'd face the storm together. Back in Brooklyn, reality crashed in. Abigail Chen, Harrison Global's board chair, called as Ryan unpacked. "Our servers were probed last night," she said, her voice clipped. "No breach, but it's sophisticated, Russian IPs." Ryan's gut twisted. "Volkov." "Likely," Abigail said. "We've bolstered firewalls, but you need to plug this leak." "Ryan." "The board's nervous." He hung up, texting James Porter. "Hack attempt. Dig into Volkov's tech crew." "Now." James replied instantly, "On it." "Got a name, Alexei Morozov. Cyber ghost, works for Kuznetsov, maybe Volkov. Dangerous." Ryan shared it with Amanda, who was helping Ethan with a science project, building a model volcano. "Another player," she said, her voice low to avoid the boys' ears. "What's our move?" "Natalia," Ryan said. "She mentioned hackers. I'll go back to Brighton Beach." "Not alone," Amanda insisted, brushing baking soda off her hands. "We're a team." The boys overheard, Dylan pausing his soccer video. "Go where?" "Is it cool?" "Just a meeting," Ryan said, ruffling his hair. "You hold the fort." Ethan frowned, his glasses slipping. "Is it about the bad guys?" Ryan exchanged a glance with Amanda. They'd agreed to be honest, within limits. "It's about keeping things safe," he said. "Like superheroes, right?" Mason grinned, waving a sketch. "Like my Dino man." "Exactly," Amanda said, hugging him. But Ethan's eyes lingered, unconvinced. Brighton Beach buzzed with Saturday life, babushkas haggling over fish, kids chasing seagulls. Natalia Petrova's apartment smelled of tea and tobacco, her sharp eyes scanning Ryan and Amanda as they entered. A new photo hung on her wall, a young Natalia with Michael Harrison, both smiling in Siberian snow. "You're back," Natalia said, pouring vodka instead of tea. "Trouble found you." "Alexei Morozov," Ryan said, cutting to it. "Hacker. Works for Kuznetsov, maybe Volkov. He's after our servers." Natalia's face hardened. "Morozov's a snake. Young, brilliant, no loyalty. He'll crack your systems for the highest bidder." "Can you stop him?" Amanda asked, her voice steady. "Not stop," Natalia said, lighting a cigarette. "Slow. I know his tricks, old Soviet code he builds on. Give me access. I'll muddy his path." Ryan hesitated. Trusting Natalia meant exposing Harrison Global's underbelly. But Volkov's hackers left no choice. "Do it," he said. "What's it cost?" "Cost." Natalia laughed, a dry rasp. "Keep my name out of it. I'm old, not stupid." They left with a plan. Natalia would feed Morozov false data, buying time. But as they drove back, Amanda's phone pinged, a security alert from the boys' school. Someone had accessed their records, no details stolen, but the breach was deliberate. "Volkov," Ryan growled. speeding up. He's poking, testing us. Amanda's face was pale, her voice steel. We need to tell them more. They're smart. They'll figure it out anyway. That night, after Victor dropped the boys off, Ryan and Amanda sat them down. The living room was cozy, a fire crackling, but the air felt heavy. Guys, Ryan began, there's a man who doesn't like Dad's company. He's trying to cause trouble, so we're being extra careful. Dylan's eyes narrowed. Like a villain? Sort of, Amanda said, her hand on his. But we're handling it. If anything feels weird, someone new at school, anything, tell us. Mason clutched his sketchbook. Can I draw him? To scare him off. Ryan smiled, heart aching. Draw him silly. That'll do it. Ethan was quiet, then asked, is he in Russia? Ryan nodded, surprised. Sometimes. Why? I read about Moscow, Ethan said. It's got spies. Are you a spy, Dad? No, Ryan said, laughing despite himself. Just a dad who loves you. The boys seemed satisfied, but Ethan's question lingered. Ryan wondered how much they sensed, how much he could shield them from. Monday brought a storm, literal and not. Rain lashed Brooklyn as James called with news. Morozov took Natalia's bait, but he's close, hours from a real breach. In Kuznetsov's in New York. Hotel in Midtown. Heavy security. Ryan's blood ran cold. Volkov. No sign, James said. But Kuznetsov's meeting someone tonight. Could be big. Ryan briefed Amanda, who was prepping for a design pitch despite the chaos. Go, she said. I've got the boys. But Ryan, don't play hero. He kissed her, fierce and quick. I'll be back. The Midtown Hotel was a fortress of glass, its lobby bustling with suits. Ryan's security team, led by a grizzled ex-Marine named Torres, blended in, watching from corners. James had slipped Ryan a burner phone with a live feed of Kuznetsov's suite, hacked via a weak Wi-Fi signal. The oligarch was there, pacing, his bulk filling the screen. A second man entered, older, lean, with a scar across his cheek. Not Volkov. That's Ivanov, James whispered through Ryan's earpiece. Kuznetsov's fixer. Bad news. Ryan watched, heart pounding, as Kuznetsov slammed a fist on the table. Subtitles from James's hack scrolled. Harrison's data. Where is it? Ivanov shrugged, muttering about Morozov's delays. Kuznetsov cursed, vowing to end Harrison if the isotope slipped away. Ryan slipped out, rain soaking his coat. He called Natalia, who was blunt. They're desperate. Morozov's failing. They'll go physical next. Your family's the target. Ryan raced home, the burner buzzing with a text from Amanda, boys safe. Stranger at school gate, gone now. Security's on it. He found her in the kitchen, eyes blazing. They're okay, she said before he could ask. But this stops, Ryan. No more games. Agreed, he said, pulling her close. We end it. The next day, Ryan met Victor, who dug into Kuznetsov's past, a trail of bodies and broken rivals. He's not Volkov, Victor said. No finesse. Hit him hard, he'll break. Ryan's plan was reckless but clear. Bait Kuznetsov with a fake isotope sample, staged as a lab leak. James rigged a dummy file, Natalia seeded it to Morozov, and Torres's team set a trap in a Queens warehouse. Amanda insisted on backup, coordinating with security from home, her voice a lifeline in Ryan's earpiece. The warehouse was cold, its shadows deep. Kuznetsov's men arrived 6, armed, led by Ivanov. Ryan faced them, the fake sample in a case, his team hidden. Where's your boss? He demanded. Ivanov sneered. You deal with me. Then deal, Ryan said, tossing the case. As Ivanov reached, Torres's team struck, flashbangs, shouts, a chaotic takedown. Ivanov escaped, but the others were detained, the sample recovered. Kuznetsov vanished, his hotel room empty by dawn. But Volkov called, his voice ice. You're bold, Harrison. But you've only delayed me. Ryan hung up, fury burning. Amanda met him at the brownstone, the boys asleep upstairs. They're safe, she said, her arms around him. You did it. Not yet, he said, kissing her. But we're close. Days later, Dylan's soccer game was a triumph, 2 goals, his team cheering. Mason's art hung in a school show. Ethan's volcano won first prize. Ryan and Amanda stood together, their hands entwined, the boys' laughter a shield against the dark. Volkov was out there, but so were they, unyielding, unbroken, a family forged in fire. The Brooklyn brownstone glowed under December's first snow, its windows fogged from the warmth inside. Ryan Harrison stood in the kitchen, stirring hot cocoa as the triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, sprawled across the living room, their voices a tangle of excitement. At 6 1/2, They were a whirlwind. Dylan reenacting his soccer game's winning goal, Mason gluing glitter to a holiday card, Ethan dissecting a snowflake's symmetry with a ruler and a frown. Amanda was upstairs, wrapping gifts for the boys' school fair, her humming a soft thread through the chaos. These moments, messy, alive, were Ryan's lifeline, but they felt fragile, like glass under pressure. Grigory Kuznetsov's retreat after the Queen's warehouse trap was a victory, but a hollow one. His fixer, Ivanov, had escaped, and Dmitry Volkov's chilling words, "You've only delayed me," hung heavy. Ryan's leak had crippled Kuznetsov's deals, but Volkov was untouched, his London base a fortress Ryan couldn't crack. Natalia Petrova's map and USB drive, paired with Michael Harrison's journal, held the key to a Siberian isotope deposit, a prize that could power cities or spark wars. Ryan had kept them hidden, but Volkov's hackers, led by Alexei Morozov, were circling closer, their probes relentless against Harrison Global's servers. Amanda descended, her hair dusted with glitter from a wrapping mishap. "They're plotting a snowball fight," she said, nodding at the boys. "You joining?" Ryan grinned, but his eyes strayed to his phone, silent, yet ominous. "In a bit." James sent something. Her smile faded. "Volkov?" "Maybe." He opened the message, a grainy photo of a man in a London cafe, scar across his cheek. "Ivanov." James's note read, "He's meeting someone, not Kuznetsov." Volkov's pulling strings. Amanda leaned close, her voice low. "What's he planning?" "No idea," Ryan admitted, frustration clawing at him. "But Kuznetsov's out, and Ivanov's still moving. Volkov's not done." She touched his arm, grounding him. "Then we keep fighting. For them." The boys burst in, Dylan waving a mitten. "Dad, come on. Snow's perfect." Ryan let their energy pull him outside, Amanda joining with a scarf trailing. The backyard was a white canvas, and the triplets dove in, Dylan lobbing snowballs with sniper aim, Mason building a lopsided fort, Ethan analyzing the snow's density. Ryan tackled Dylan, laughing as powder flew, while Amanda teamed with Mason, her throws surprisingly fierce. For an hour, Volkov was a distant ghost, and Ryan was just a dad, his family whole. But ghosts don't stay buried. That night, after the boys were tucked in, Dylan dreaming of soccer, Mason of art, Ethan of crystals, Ryan sat with Amanda, a laptop between them. James's latest report was grim. Morozov's hacks had breached a secondary server, stealing dummy data Natalia had planted, but the real systems were vulnerable. Worse, Ivanov was linked to a new player, a Russian financier named Elena Sokolova, rumored to bankroll Volkov's shadow deals. "She's clean on paper," James had written, "but dirty as hell. If she's with Ivanov, Volkov's funding a big move." Amanda's eyes narrowed. "Money means power. What's he buying?" "Time," Ryan said. "Or leverage. If Sokolova's in, he's not just after the isotope, he's rebuilding." She closed the laptop, her voice firm. "We need Natalia again. And Victor. This isn't just your fight." Ryan nodded, grateful for her clarity. "I'll call them tomorrow. But Amanda, we tell the boys more. They're asking too much." "Agreed," she said, her hand finding his. "They're part of this, like it or not." Morning brought a school fair, a riot of glitter and noise. Dylan manned a soccer kick booth, Mason's art table drew crowds, and Ethan explained his volcano to odd parents. Ryan and Amanda worked the crowd, their smiles masking vigilance. A stranger lingered near Ethan's booth, too long, too focused. Ryan signaled Torres, his security lead, who approached casually, but the man slipped away, leaving only a chill. "Volkov's people?" Amanda whispered, her arm around Ethan. "Maybe," Ryan said, his jaw tight. "We're not taking chances." Back home, they sat the boys down, the fire crackling. "Guys," Ryan began, "the man causing trouble, he's still out there. He might send people to watch us, so we need you to be extra sharp." Dylan's fists clenched. "I'll punch him." "No punching," Amanda said, her tone gentle but firm. "Just tell us if anything feels off." Mason hugged his sketchbook. "Can I draw traps? Like for spies?" Ryan chuckled, heart aching. "Draw the best ones, buddy." Ethan's voice was small. "Will he hurt us?" "No," Ryan said, kneeling to meet his gaze. "We won't let him. You're our team." The boys nodded, reassured but solemn, and Ryan hated the weight he'd put on them. That night, he called Natalia, arranging a meet. Victor joined, his penthouse a war room of whiskey and maps. "Natalia's right, Sokolova's key," Victor said, his green eyes sharp. "She's Volkov's wallet. Cut her off, he's crippled." "How?" Amanda asked, her design-trained mind slicing through. "She's untouchable. Not quite, Natalia said, joining via video, her cigarette glowing. Sokolova's got a weakness, her son, Mikhail. He's in New York, studying at NYU. Spoiled, reckless. Leverage him. You leverage her. Ryan hesitated. A kid, barely 20, was a line he didn't want to cross. We're not Volkov, he said. No families. Then you lose, Natalia snapped. This is war, not ethics class. Amanda's hand tightened on his. There's another way. Sokolova's money, trace it. Freeze it, like you did Volkov's. Victor grunted approval. Smart. I've got banking contacts. Risky, but doable. James worked overnight, hacking Sokolova's accounts with Natalia's guidance. By dawn, they had a trail offshore shells tied to Volkov's London ops. Ryan leaked it to Interpol, anonymous but precise, and waited. The blowback was swift. Sokolova's assets were flagged, her deal stalled. But Volkov struck back. A cyber attack crashed Harrison Global's website, leaking client emails. Abigail Chen was furious. The board rattled. Ryan stabilized the damage, but the message was clear. Volkov was wounded, not dead. Then Mikhail Sokolov called, his voice shaky on a burner phone James traced. My mother's panicking, he said. She's cutting Volkov loose. Meet me alone. I'll give you his plans. Ryan shared it with Amanda, who was skeptical. A trap. Maybe, Ryan said. But if he's real, it's our shot. The meet was set for Washington Square Park, dusk. Ryan went wired, Torres's team in shadows. Amanda stayed with the boys, her voice in his earpiece. Be careful, Ryan. Mikhail was lanky, nervous, his NYU hoodie too big. Volkov's desperate, he said, glancing around. He's planning a heist, your office, tomorrow night. The journal, the map, everything. Why tell me? Ryan asked, searching his face. My mom's scared, Mikhail said. You froze her money. She thinks Volkov's finished. I just want out. Ryan nodded, slipping him a card. Stay safe. Call if you need us. Back home, Amanda was ready. A heist? We lock it down. They moved the journal, map, and drive to Victor's safe. Harrison Global security tripled. The boys sensed the tension, Dylan quieter, Mason's drawings darker, Ethan asking about bad men. Ryan and Amanda reassured them, but the strain showed. The heist came at midnight, silent and slick. Morozov's tech jammed cameras, but Torres's team was ready for intruders caught, no shots fired. The leader, a wiry Russian, spat Volkov's name before clamming up. Ryan watched the interrogation via feed. Amanda beside him, their relief tempered by dread. He's unraveling, she said, her hand in his. But he won't stop. No, Ryan agreed. But we're ahead for now. Days later, the boys' holiday fare was a bright spot. Dylan's kicks won prizes, Mason's cards sold out, Ethan's volcano erupted to cheers. Ryan and Amanda stood together, snow dusting their coats, their love a quiet strength. Volkov was a storm on the horizon, but they were a family, scarred, fierce, unbroken. Snow blanketed Brooklyn, turning the brownstone street into a postcard of winter calm. Inside, Ryan Harrison stood by the living room window, watching the triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, build a snowman in the front yard. At 6.5, their energy was a force. Dylan sculpted with a quarterback's precision. Mason adorned it with a scarf and a lopsided grin. Ethan measured the snow's depth with a ruler, muttering about compaction. Amanda was in the kitchen, baking cookies for the boys' school play, her laughter mixing with the scent of vanilla. These moments were Ryan's refuge, a fragile bubble he guarded fiercely. But the bubble was cracking. Dmitry Volkov's failed heist at Harrison Global Ventures a week ago had been a desperate move, his men caught, his plans exposed by Mikhail Sokolov's betrayal. Elena Sokolova, Volkov's financier, was reeling, her accounts frozen, her son's defection a wound. Grigory Kuznetsov was a ghost, his midtown hotel empty, but Ryan knew the oligarch's silence was tactical. Natalia Petrova's map, USB drive, and Michael Harrison's journal, keys to a Siberian isotope deposit, remained locked in Victor's safe, a prize Volkov craved. The Russian's vow, "You've only delayed me," was a splinter in Ryan's mind, sharpened by Alexei Morozov's relentless cyber attacks. Amanda joined him, wiping flour from her hands. They're turning it into a snow dinosaur, she said, nodding at the boys. Mason's idea. Ryan smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. They're unstoppable. Her gaze sharpened. Unlike you. What's wrong? He hesitated, the weight of it heavy. James traced Morozov's latest hack, routed through London, but it's Volkov. He's targeting Victor now, digging into his old deals. Amanda's face tightened. Victor? What? Leverage, Ryan said. He raised me after Dad died. If Volkov can't get me, he'll hit family. She crossed her arms, her voice low. Then we protect him. And the boys. Always, Ryan said, pulling her close. Their bond, rekindled through months of danger, felt like steel, but even steel could bend. The boys' school play tonight was a bright spot, but Ryan's security team, led by Torres, was on high alert after the stranger at Ethan's booth. The play was a chaotic delight, a holiday mashup of reindeer and robots. Dylan played a soccer-kicking elf, his grin infectious. Mason's painted backdrop stole the show. Ethan narrated, his glasses slipping as he explained Snowbot physics. Ryan and Amanda sat in the auditorium, hands entwined, but Ryan's eyes scanned the crowd. A woman lingered at the back, dark coat, sharp cheekbones, gone when Torres moved to check. Volkov's, Amanda whispered, her grip tightening. Or Sokolova's, Ryan said, his jaw set. We're not waiting to find out. Back home, the boys buzzed with post-show adrenaline, reenacting scenes as Ryan tucked them in. Dylan demanded a robot story, Mason a dinosaur one, Ethan a quiet question. Dad, why do bad guys keep coming? Ryan sat on his bed, heart aching. Some people want things that aren't theirs. But we're stronger, Ethan. You, me, Mom. Your brothers, we stopped them. Ethan nodded, but his eyes held doubt. Ryan kissed his forehead, vowing to make it true. Downstairs, Amanda was on the phone with Victor, her voice sharp. Your family, Victor. If Volkov's after you, we need to know everything. Ryan took the phone. What's he got on you? Victor's sigh was rare, heavy. Old sins, Ryan. Your father's Siberian deal. I backed it, pushed him to keep going even when Volkov's father got ugly. There's a contract, buried, tying me to their losses. If Dmitri has it, he'll use it. Where is it? Ryan asked. My safe, Victor said. With the journal. I'll check. Morning brought a call from James, his voice urgent. Volkov's in Berlin, spotted with Sokolova, not Kuznetsov. They're meeting a tech firm, maybe buying Morozov new toys. Berlin, Ryan repeated, his mind racing. He's escalating. Amanda, brewing coffee, froze. We can't follow him there. Not with the boys. We won't, Ryan said. But Victor's contract, Natalia might know its weight. I'm calling her. Natalia's Brighton Beach apartment was unchanged, its air thick with cigarette smoke and memory. A new icon hung beside her Siberian photos. A saint, its gold chipped. Volkov's father lost everything, she said, pouring vodka. That contract tied Victor to their ruin. If Dmitri has it, he'll blackmail him. Or worse. Can we destroy it? Amanda asked, her voice steady. Only if you find it first, Natalia said. Victor's safe, maybe. Or Moscow, old archives. Ryan's gut twisted. Moscow's suicide. Volkov's waiting. Then outsmart him, Natalia said, her eyes sharp. Leak a fake contract. Let him chase it. Amanda nodded, her design mind clicking. We stage it, make him think Victor's exposed. They left with a plan, but the school called as they drove. Dylan's soccer gear was stolen, Mason's art supplies trashed, Ethan's science kit missing. It's him, Amanda said, her voice ice. He's hitting them. Ryan sped home, Torres meeting them with news. Security cameras caught a man, scarred cheek, Ivanov's match. Volkov's fixer was back, targeting the boys to break Ryan. We in this, Ryan said, fury burning. No more traps. Victor arrived, his face grim. The contract's gone stolen from my safe. Journal's safe, map too, but they got it. Ryan cursed, the piece is falling. Volkov's got leverage now. He'll use it to force my hand. Amanda's eyes blazed. Then we take it back. Where's Ivanov? James traced him to a Brooklyn warehouse, a Volkov front. Ryan and Torres planned a raid. Small, surgical, no police to spook him. Amanda insisted on joining, her voice brooked no argument. They're my sons too. The warehouse was a husk of rust and shadows, its air sharp with oil. Ryan, Amanda, and Torres's team moved silently, infrared goggles cutting the dark. Ivanov was there, barking orders over a burner phone, the contract on a table, yellowed, damning. Ryan signaled, and they struck. Smoke grenades, shouts, a chaotic grab. Amanda snatched the contract. Ryan tackled Ivanov, but the fixer slipped free, vanishing into the night. Back at the brownstone, they burned the contract, its ashes a small victory. But Volkov called, his voice ablaze. You're persistent, Harrison. But I have other ways. What's that mean? Ryan demanded. Berlin, Volkov said. Come, or your empire falls. The line died. Amanda, beside him, said, he's baiting you. I know, Ryan said. But we can't ignore it. They flew to Berlin, leaving the boys with Victor. Security tripled. The city was a maze of steel and history, its Christmas markets aglow. Volkov's tech firm meet was a front, James confirmed it, hacking their servers. Sokolova was there, her elegance masking panic, Morozov at her side, his laptop a weapon. Ryan and Amanda posed as investors, slipping into the firm's gala. Volkov stood across the room, his blue eyes locking on Ryan's. Sokolova spoke first, her voice smooth. You've caused trouble, Mr. Harrison. You started it, Ryan said, nodding at Volkov. In this, Dmitri. Walk away. Volkov smiled, thin and cold. Give me the journal, the map, or your servers burn. Morozov tapped his laptop, a test hack flashing on Ryan's phone, client data exposed. Amanda's hand tightened on his arm, but her voice was steady. You're losing, Volkov. Sokolova's done, Kuznetsov's gone. You're alone. Sokolova flinched, but Volkov laughed. Am I? A scream cut the air, smoke poured from vents, alarms blaring. Ryan grabbed Amanda, diving through chaos. Morozov fled, laptop in hand, but Torres's team cornered him, seizing the device. Volkov vanished, Sokolova with him, their plans disrupted but not dead. Back in New York, the boys greeted them with hugs, unaware of Berlin's danger. Dylan's team had rallied. Mason's art was restored, Ethan's kit replaced. Victor, softer now, shared a story of Michael's courage, the boys listening wide-eyed. Ryan and Amanda sat by the fire, the journal safe, Volkov's threat looming. He's not done, Ryan said, her head on his shoulder. No, she murmured. But we're ready. The boys slept, their dreams untroubled. Ryan held Amanda, their love a fortress, the fight far from over, but theirs to win. The Brooklyn brownstone was a fortress of warmth against January's bite, its windows aglow with the soft flicker of a fireplace. Ryan Harrison stood in the living room, watching the triplets, Dylan, Mason, and Ethan, huddled over a board game, their laughter a defiant melody. At nearly 7, they were a constellation of quirks. Dylan strategizing with a general's focus, Mason sketching game pieces between moves, Ethan analyzing the rules for loopholes. Amanda was in the kitchen, stirring mulled cider, her presence a steady pulse in Ryan's world. This was home, hard-won and precious, but the scars of their fight lingered. Dmitry Volkov's Berlin gambit had failed, his tech firm's gala disrupted, Alexei Morozov's laptop seized, Elena Sokolova's composure cracked, but he hadn't surrendered. Grigory Kuznetsov was a shadow, his influence fading, yet Ryan sensed the endgame nearing. Natalia Petrova's map, USB drive, and Michael Harrison's journal, keys to a Siberian isotope deposit, remained secure, but Volkov's hunger for them was relentless. The Russian's last call, "You're alone now," was a lie Ryan refused to believe, not with Amanda, the boys, and even Victor by his side. Amanda joined him, handing him a steaming mug. "They're cheating," she said, nodding at the boys. "Ethan's rewriting the rules." Ryan chuckled, but his eyes were distant. "Volkov's in Geneva," he said, keeping his voice low. James tracked him, a summit on energy futures. Sokolova's there too. Her smile faded, her grip tightening on her mug. "He's making a move." "Big one," Ryan said. "The summit's a stage, global players, billions at stake. If he's pitching the isotope, he needs our data. Then we stop him," Amanda said, her voice steel. "No more running." Ryan nodded, her resolve his anchor. Their love, forged through betrayal, danger, and time, felt unbreakable, but Volkov tested it daily. The boys' school was safe, security tightened since Ivanov's warehouse escape, but Ryan felt the clock ticking. "Dad," Mason called, waving a glittery card. "I made you a superhero cape, for the game." "Looks invincible," Ryan said, crouching to admire it. Dylan smirked, tossing a die, while Ethan adjusted his glasses, muttering about probability. These were the moments Ryan fought for, and he'd be damned if Volkov stole them. That night, after the boys were tucked in, Dylan dreaming of championships, Mason of murals, Ethan of stars, Ryan sat with Amanda, a laptop open. James's latest intel was a bombshell. Volkov was pitching a breakthrough at the Geneva summit, claiming access to a rare isotope. Sokolova was bankrolling it, Morozov securing the pitch with encrypted files. But the data was incomplete. Volkov needed Michael's journal to seal the deal. He's bluffing, Amanda said, her eyes sharp. He doesn't have it. Not yet, Ryan said. But he's close. Morozov's hacks are hitting our decoys, but they're learning. She leaned closer, her hand on his. Then we go to Geneva? Expose him. End this. Ryan hesitated. Leaving the boys again felt like a betrayal, but staying was surrender. Victor can watch them, he said. With Torres's team. Agreed, Amanda said. But I'm with you. We finish this together. Morning brought a flurry of plans. Victor arrived, his silver hair catching the light, his gruffness softened by the boys' hugs. Uncle Victor, Dylan shouted, showing off a soccer trick. Mason offered a drawing, a wizard with Victor's face, while Ethan asked, "Do you know about isotopes?" Victor's lips twitched. "Your grandfather did, lad. Saved the world with it." Ryan pulled him aside, briefing him on Geneva. Victor's green eyes narrowed. Volkov's cornered, dangerous. Take Natalia's drive. Use it if you must. The boys sensed the shift, Ethan clinging longer when Ryan hugged him. "You'll be back, right?" "Always," Ryan promised, his throat tight. Geneva was a city of glass and diplomacy, its lake shimmering under alpine peaks. The summit buzzed with CEOs, scientists, and politicians, a glittering web of power. Ryan and Amanda checked into a discreet hotel, posing as consultants, their IDs courtesy of James's forger. Torres's team shadowed them, blending into the crowd, while Natalia's USB drive burned in Ryan's pocket, a last resort. The summit's main hall was a cathedral of steel, its screens flashing energy stats. Volkov stood at a podium, his blue eyes scanning the room as he spoke of a new era. Sokolova sat nearby, elegant but tense, Morozov at her side, his laptop glowing. Ryan and Amanda slipped into the back, their badges granting access, their hearts pounding. "He's selling a dream," Amanda whispered, her hand brushing Ryan's. "Without the journal, it's smoke." "Let's make it ash," Ryan murmured, signaling James via a burner phone. The hacker, working remotely, was ready to disrupt Volkov's pitch, dummy files, false data, a digital knife. Volkov's voice rose, promising unlimited power from a Siberian find. Slides showed maps, eerily close to Natalia's, but incomplete. The crowd leaned in, investors murmuring, but Ryan saw the bluff. Volkov was stalling, banking on fear. James struck mid-speech, screens flickering as false data flooded Volkov's presentation. Wildly inaccurate yields, fake surveys. Gasps rippled through the hall. Sokolova's face paled, Morozov scrambled, but Volkov stayed calm, his eyes locking on Ryan's across the room. "He knows," Amanda said, her voice tight. "Let him," Ryan replied, standing. He stepped forward, raising his voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is a fraud. Mr. Volkov's data is stolen, incomplete. My father, Michael Harrison, mapped that deposit and hid it for a reason." Murmurs grew to a roar. Volkov's smile was ice. "Bold claims, Mr. Harrison. Prove it." Ryan held up Natalia's drive, a calculated risk. "The truth's here. Share it, Dmitri, or I do." Sokolova stood, her voice cutting through. "Enough. This is sabotage." Security moved, but Amanda was faster, slipping to a console with James's override code. The screens blazed with Volkov's real files, stolen emails, dirty deals, Sokolova's accounts tied to fraud. The crowd erupted, cameras flashing. Morozov bolted, tackled by Torres's team. Sokolova froze, her empire crumbling. Volkov vanished in the chaos, but Ryan felt no relief. Back at the hotel, Amanda gripped his hand. "We did it," she said, her eyes fierce. "He's exposed. Not caught," Ryan said, the drive heavy in his pocket. "He'll run, but not far." Interpol moved fast, Sokolova detained, Morozov spilling secrets for leniency. Kuznetsov surfaced in Moscow, arrested on unrelated charges, his network shattered. Volkov was a ghost, last seen in Dubai, his accounts drained, his name toxic. Ryan leaked Natalia's data to a UN panel, ensuring the isotope stayed neutral, a legacy for Michael, not a weapon. Back in Brooklyn, spring bloomed, the brownstone alive with the boys' chaos. Dylan's soccer team won a championship, his trophy gleaming on a shelf. Mason's mural, a vibrant cityscape, graced a school wall, his name in local papers. Ethan's science project, a model fusion reactor, earned a grant, his shy smile brighter than ever. Ryan and Amanda watched them, their hands entwined, the scars of Geneva fading. Victor visited, older but lighter, sharing Michael's old letters with the boys, tales of courage, love, mistakes. Your dad would be proud, he told Ryan, his voice rough. One evening, under a cherry blossom tree, Ryan knelt before Amanda, a simple ring in his hand. We've fought for this, he said. Marry me. Let's build it forever. Her eyes shimmered, her voice steady. Yes. The boys cheered, Dylan plotting a wedding goal, Mason sketching a cake, Ethan calculating flower angles. The wedding was small. Park sunlight, Victor's gruff toast, the boys' laughter, but perfect. Natalia sent a samovar, a nod from afar. Volkov's shadow lingered, a whisper in headlines, but Ryan let it go. He was a father, a husband, a man who'd chosen love over empire. Harrison Global pivoted to green tech, honoring Michael's dream. The boys grew, Dylan's kicks sharper, Mason's art bolder, Ethan's questions deeper, each a piece of a future Ryan and Amanda would guard, no matter what. As summer dawned, they sat on the brownstone steps, the city alive around them. Dylan kicked a ball, Mason drew the sky, Ethan read beside Amanda. Ryan held her close, their rings catching the light. We won, she whispered. We did, he said, kissing her. For them. The boys ran to them, a tangle of warmth, and Ryan knew. This was his legacy, his empire, his home.